Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, salatu wassalamu ala rasulih al-kareem, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Alhamdulillah, back at it again with the next installment in our series on how to study the Arabic language without a teacher. So just to recap, the last video was taking the time to learn how to pronounce the letters, learn how to recognize the letters. I wanted to point out a very useful resource that I use, the channel Arabic 101, a great channel for learning how to pronounce the Arabic letters, learning how to recognize the Arabic letters, right? I think there's certain aspects of the Arabic language that you can learn on the channel in a very effective manner. Like, for example, learning the makharij of huruf, learning how to, the articulation points, how exactly to pronounce them, learning the sifat of letters, the attributes that letters have, and things of that nature. So that's definitely a great resource. I definitely advise you to go check out that channel. I also want to mention that in my journey of learning the Arabic letters, I also watched this Arabic series by Sheikh Abdul, and I just went back to watch the videos, or to like I watched the first video in the playlist, and I realized why I didn't complete the series is because it is a bit advanced. I think Sheikh Abdul likes to go into a lot of depth. So it was beneficial. It was beneficial because he did a lot of things similar to, he went over the letters in a lot of depth, similar to how the brother at Arabic 101 does. But I'd say for your version of me using Abu Talib's videos, alongside studying Al-Qaeda and Nuraniya, you can go ahead and use Arabic 101, right? That's like your second exposure to the Arabic letters. And then after you complete that step of learning the Arabic letters, you want to move on to step 2 or 3, right? Step 3, if you count the niyyah as a step. Step 2, if you don't count purifying your niyyah as like an action step. You want to move on to picking an Arabic series, an Arabic course, and complete the course all the way through. The course that I used, obviously, is the Madinah Arabic course. I also did this in 2018 after I finished with the brother. I started with this copy right here, but this is equivalent to the book 1, right? The first book. I had started with a series that was recorded by Sajid Lipham, but like he only did the first few lessons in the book. I think it was like lesson up to lesson 2 or lesson 3. So I had to find another teacher. The teacher that I found was, I think, the best teacher when it comes to teaching the Durus al-Lughat al-Arabiya, right? The Arabic course, the Madinah Arabic course. Abdul Adheem. His channel is extremely beneficial. I was able to complete all the way up to, I guess, towards the end of book 2, because he doesn't, the only problem with his channel, or with his teaching, is that he didn't complete the entire series. So I completed up to book 2, and I think this probably is like my first pitfall in terms of me studying the Arabic language, is the fact that I should have went on to complete all the way through book 2 and then complete book 3 as well. What you gain from understanding and completing an Arabic series, right? You can either use the Madinah Arabic course, or you can use the Gateway to Arabic. That's another course. It's done by an African brother. That course is great as well. The books are like way thinner, so like you're gonna have to go through, the way that the Madinah Arabic series is like 3 books, that book series is, I think, like 9 or something like that. But go through the Gateway to Arabic series by Imran Alawiya. Yeah. So that series is another one. It's another great one. It's similar to that Madinah Arabic series. I started teaching my wife with it, but I just decided on going back to what I know best. So, but definitely you got to pick up an Arabic series and you got to thug it out, right? You start from the beginning. You got to drudge your way through every single episode, and you find a teacher that's teaching a book. A lot of times, like for example, if you take the Gateway to Arabic, Imran is going to be the best teacher because it's his series. He came up with the Gateway to Arabic series. But the Madinah Arabic course, I would say start out with Abdul Alim. I think his videos, the way he breaks down every single lesson, he starts off with teaching you the vocabulary, and after that you go into the reading, and then you go into answering the questions, and he breaks it up. It's a great course. I mean, the series isn't complete, but in the case that at that point you want to continue through Madinah Arabic, what you should do is go to either DusDawah with Abu Kanza. They have a series on Madinah Arabic as well. Extremely beneficial, right? Another one is Madrasatuna. I'm gonna link all these channels down below. Madrasatuna, in fact, I think they teach Arabiya being a I'm seeing as well. And a lot of these channels, they teach other stuff too, but I'm just letting you know what I sort of benefited. Like after completing or after sort of taking a pause from Medina Book 2, I think maybe like 3 years ago, maybe in like 2022, I want to say, I decided I was gonna like just start Madinah Arabic, Medina, the book 2 over again. I had used the DusDawah series, right? Abu Kanz's lessons. So anyone that you pick, I mean, there's a lot of options out there. You can literally look up Madinah Arabic, see a whole bunch of teachers teaching the book, find somebody that you could benefit from, that you understand their teaching style and things of that nature. Tafadhal, you know? But because of the fact you don't have like a great exposure to general Arabic vocabulary, like somebody that was like born in the Arab world and you know these words, you know, what this series does is it gives you like a basic understanding of how to gain a vocabulary, right? That's the most important thing. You need words. And then they also slowly introduce you to rules of grammar, right? You're going to start off, you're going to learn what the mubtada and the khabar is, and you're going to learn huruf al-jar. That's, I mean, at least in the Madinah Arabic series. And as you continue, as you progress, you're slowly going to get exposure to more and more rules, right? To the point that by the end of like where I stopped, by the end of book 2, you get to a point where I think the last lesson is okay. So the last lesson goes into the Mali, right? So the towards the end of book 2, you go into a lot of depth with regards to verbs, which is extremely beneficial. And I think after like flipping through book 3, there is definitely stuff in book 3 that I don't know, right? I'm sure about that. So I think I'm actually going to sit down and go through book 3. But that just goes to show you that if you build a great foundation, like completing book 2 for me was enough as a foundation that I could move on to the next step, which I'm going to mention in the next video, which will allow you to open up books in Arabic and be able to benefit. And you don't even have to wait till you complete book 2. I think like halfway through book 2, this is also if you continuously expose yourself to the language, right? Something else that I did in this time period, there was a brother, his channel, I don't know if it still exists. Let me look it up. Arabic with Sam. The brother had basically there was a series where he sort of went through Arabic books or like Arabic, like this Arabic book for children. It's called Qasasul Nabiyyin and Qasasul Anbiya. And like he would annotate through the text. And there's another brother that went through Al-Afkar wal-Adab. Basically in the Prophet's Masjid, if you like, there's a kulliyah there. There's like an institute that's there. If you attend the kulliyah, there's a series of mutun, of basic Arabic texts that you study to build certain areas of your knowledge, right? You're going to study something in Aqidah. Like the first book is basically all Aqidah except for Al-Arba'un al-Nawawiyah. Now, before the first book, there's a book called Al-Afkar wal-Adab. Al-Afkar wal-Adab is a book that talks about basically things that you got to say either in your prayer, outside of your prayer, just general adhkar, right? Dhikr, and also adab, like mannerisms that a Muslim should have, talib ilm, things of that nature. There's a brother, I think his name is Abu Muawiyah. I came across his channel like not too long ago, and it was a happy moment, you know, seeing his channel after such a long time because I had lost like I even forgot his name and all of that, but I'm subscribed to him. I'm not trying to go through to look for all that right now. But his channel, subhanAllah, you know, he goes through all those mutun book, he reads them, he annotates them. I want to do something similar to that. And I benefited from that a lot. Those readings, right? Going through a reading with somebody and having them annotate the text as you're going to the Madinah Arabic series. Those two things combined, Allah understand. That's going to really help you understand how to read Arabic, right? And then alongside that as well, I'd like to add, you want to start listening to clips of scholars that are translating. You want to go to, for example, scholarly subtitles and watch every single video that they have on their channel, right? There's videos of Sheikh Sulaiman al-Ruhaili, Sheikh Abdul al-Badr, Sheikh Saleh al-Sindi. What's another good channel? The People of Knowledge channel. It's called Ahlul Ilm. Their videos in general, they have a lot of translations on there of like Uthaymeen, Sheikh al-Wahidan, Sheikh Falah al-Munzakkar. All these videos, just continue watching them. What you want to do, you want to sort of like you want to pay attention to how scholars say things, right? Like I remember I was on IG the other day, and there's this page where they basically like bring clips of scholars saying like phrases in their lessons. For example, wakadalik or min thamma, right? So these are like phrases. These are basic Arabic phrases that when you use them, it makes your speech sound more natural. Because language acquisition is what is learning how to read the language, how to write the language, inputting and outputting information in a inscribed format. And then there's also being able to hear and understand the language and also speak the language. So if you don't have access to somebody that's teaching you, then your way of hearing people speak is listening to these Arab scholars talk while also seeing their words being translated in front of you. At the same time, what you can do is what I did. I used to talk to myself. And you hear people say that all the time. It wasn't like I go stand in front of the mirror and I talk to the mirror. No. But basically, you want to learn how to think in Arabic. Like, if there's something that you want to say, like, okay, if you have thoughts, I don't know how to make this make sense. But basically, you sort of want to like express yourself mentally in the Arabic language with words that you know. And if you don't know a word, translate it and also try to understand. Don't just translate the phrase and memorize the phrase. Oh, that's just how you say this phrase. No, you want to understand how those words are being put together to give the meaning that you're intending. That's extremely important because, again, that is what actually helps you be able to speak the language. A lot of times, people, when they want to study a language, they pick up a book of phrases. That's good at the beginning if you're going on a vacation. But if you're trying to learn the language, you have to learn how the language works, right? And that takes actually studying how the language works. And that's what you're trying to do in all these different aspects, right? So inshallah, this is going to be like your next step. Pick a course, you thug it out, complete the entire course. That's the best option. If you go through a bout of laziness or you sort of lose patience, but you want to at least go far enough and also give yourself other exposures to the Arabic language. And by the time you stop the series, it's like, okay, I think I'm good enough here. And then you can continue to further your exposure to Arabic. At the same time, taking the time to listen to recordings of Arab speakers. I've also heard people say like watching the news. I think that's okay, but I don't know if news is usually translated like with captions. I'd say you probably want to do that when you get to a point that you don't need every single word translated to you. When you reach a point that your vocabulary is large enough that you can understand most words that are being said, except for a few that you hear in the video, and then you have to go Google that. And I think at that point, that's when you can start consuming Arabic that's not translated. Right? So the point is reaching a point of fluency in Arabic or understanding Arabic in terms of specifically the reading. That's going to come from exposure. All right, that's the number one thing, exposing yourself to the language and go through that process. Translate words you don't know, translate them. It's extremely important. I wanted to make a point, considering the month that we're in, Shahr Ramadan Mubarak. I think it's important for us to realize that the goal is to learn the Arabic language, to strengthen your connection with Allah and also with the Prophet ﷺ with regards to studying the Book of Allah and being able to read and understand the ahadith of the Prophet ﷺ. So something that will also aid you at this point, every single point as you learn the Arabic language, is consuming the Quran with its translation. Because the point that you're at in your journey, you don't know enough Arabic, obviously, to understand the Quran without having it translated for you. So every single time you're exposing yourself to the Quran, if you can, as long as you're not in Salah. But if let's say you're on the train and you're listening to the Quran, instead of using your phone at the same time scrolling through whatever app you're scrolling through, open up the app. For example, if you're using the Quran app, use one of these apps and as you're listening to the Quran, read the translation for each ayah that you're listening to. And if the ayah is going too fast and you didn't read the complete translation, pause it and then read it and continue. Or let's say you're driving Another way you can do it is you can look online and find Quran recitations that are translated. So basically, they'll read ayah and then they'll read the translation of the ayah afterward.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
This is a very beneficial way for you to expose yourself to the language more, build your Quranic vocabulary, right? Because the thing with the Quran is a lot of words are repeated often, right? So definitely take the time to consume the Quran with its translation so that you can actually understand what's being said in the Quran, and also build your Arabic vocabulary to the point that you won't even need the translation for those surahs because you've listened to it with the translation so many times, or you've read the translation so many times, and you know enough Arabic now to understand what's being said. As-salaamu alaykum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.